Now, the image that you see on your screen is the beginning of what the U.S. has named Operation Hawkeye Strike. The image is from Dover Air Force Base in Dover, Delaware, where the remains of 2 Iowa National Guard members and a civilian interpreter who were killed in an attack in Syria are being transferred. Now, late last night, United States military, with the orders of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, of course, the U.S. Air Force then launched a precision strike on ISIS targets in Syria. On your screen is a video of a U.S. F-16 bomber taking off officially, launching the operation. American forces, supported by Jordanian aircraft, struck over 70 sites with precision munitions, hitting fighters, infrastructure and weapons and caches in regions including Deir ez-Zor, Raqqa and near Palmyra. President Trump, who vowed swiftly justice after honoring the fallen at Dover Air Force Base, confirmed the strikes are inflicting heavy damage on the terrorists responsible. Officials say this builds on recent joint operations that have already neutralized dozens of ISIS operatives. Dubbed Operation Hawkeye Strike, the operation involved U.S. fighter jets, Apache helicopters, HIMARS artillery and Jordanian warplanes, hitting more than 70 targets across central Syria. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced the strikes are eliminating ISIS fighters and sites, emphasizing, "We hunted and killed our enemies, lots of them." Syria's government has pledged and continued cooperation to ensure no safe haven for the terrorist group. I have joining me on the broadcast Major General Sudhakarji, who's a senior geopolitical and strategic defense expert. Major General Sudhakarji, welcome. And I want to begin by asking you, how do you see these strikes?
Well, Vaishali, good morning. Thank you for taking me for your show. And I would compliment the U.S. dispensation for retaliated in response to the loss of lives. They lost, I think, 2 of the soldiers and 1 interpreter, total 3 of them, 6 were injured. This incident took place on 13th of December. They were ambushed by the ISI. But my only thing is, yes, they have, I think, hit 100 odd targets at multiple locations in Syria. But the bigger issue is that they have to keep mounting the pressure. It has to follow the concept of mow the grass like the Israelis do. You see, 2017 is the year where we had a coalition force of Western alliances together. They came together to break the backbone or decimate, so-called decimate the ISIS. But instead of decimation, they broke up into splinters. One went towards the northwest Africa, and now they are playing havoc in the Sahel region. Another one was the Levant area. This Syria forms part of Levant area. And the third one is from ISIS Khorasan, Central Asia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, across India, towards New Zealand and Australia. So, therefore, what needs to be done is that there has to be a kind of a collective effort and understanding of the global order as to how to tackle the menace. The root cause cannot be addressed. The root cause is something else. They're going in for the global caliphate. But is the world order prepared to accept the global caliphate and Sharia law? So if it is not, then can the global order take it up as a common challenge before the common public and formulate a counter strategy? Why am I actually harping on the issue is, way back in '96, India had presented in a folder to the United Nations Security Council definition of terrorist, terror and terrorism. Terrorism per se is it's a global dimension. Therefore, it needs to have a global solution. It cannot be country-based issue. Today, the Americans have been hit. Tomorrow, somebody else may be hit. The cause may be different. That is one part. Second part is, it's very important to understand as to why did they actually ambush. Because the ISIS leader himself is the president of Syria. Despite enjoying the best of patronage of USA, why did the ISIS hit the American patrol? Do they have any malignant intention? That is actually we need to find that out through the process of investigation, maybe internal, maybe a holistic or external one. And last but not the least is, yes, we have hit them in 100 places, but is that enough? Because this definitely is going to trigger a backlash or some kind of pushback by the ISIS at different places. Radicalization does not require physical presence of people. Internet and social media is being used. Today, the citizens in the homeland of USA, they are getting radicalized. So is USA prepared to take some remedial measures as a long-term measure? Back to you, Vaishali.
Major General Sudhakarji, now I want to ask you now, as per you, from a military standpoint, was Operation Hawkeye a necessary response, or do you think it was a symbolic show of force?
Well, both ways. From my side, it has the paradigm and orientation towards both. Because if you do not retaliate, they will get encouraged. So, towards that end, USA has done the right thing. But in doing the right thing, hitting 100 odd targets for loss of 2 men, soldiers that too, and 1 interpreter, I think they have gone overboard, and they should have an escalatory matrix put on place. They should graduate, because if they have hit the threshold, what after this? For the next ambush that happens, will USA burn the entire Syria? I don't think so. So therefore, there is need of the escalatory matrix, and dominating the escalatory matrix is very important. Domination.
Major General Sudhakarji, I'll have to unfortunately interrupt you because we're running short of time, but always a pleasure speaking to you. And with that, it's a wrap on this bulletin. Thank you for watching.